Hello everyone, now we'll be discussing about the drugs for constipation. So, infrequent or difficult passage of stool is nothing but constipation, and at times the constipation is associated with straining or a feeling of incomplete defecation. And as such, constipation is a symptom rather than a disease. So, how does it happen? Whenever colon absorbs excess water from the stool or waste, this dries out the stool, making it hard in consistency and difficult to push out of the body. And also, due to slow colonic muscle contractions, the stool movement might be slow. Because of these two reasons, constipation might occur. Now, the causes of constipation are various factors contribute to constipation like low fiber diet, certain medications, certain pathological conditions, and even pregnancy. Whenever there is lack of physical activity, in some cases, traveling or withholding of defecation also causes constipation. Dehydration may also lead to constipation, and in certain patients who have an abuse of laxative, they suffer from constipation. Now, what are laxatives? Laxatives are the drugs that promote evacuation of bowels, and many drugs in low doses they act as laxatives, and in higher doses they act as purgatives. So, laxatives are milder in action, their dose is low, and the elimination of soft stool is seen. When it comes to purgatives, their dose is high, they have a stronger action, and a watery stool is seen. Coming to the mechanism of action, so primarily laxatives act by acting on the intestinal mucosa. They decrease the net absorption of water and electrolytes and also enhance the intestinal transit. And the other mechanism is osmotic action or hydrophilic action. By this, they retain water and electrolytes in the intestinal lumen, increasing the colonic content. So, laxatives primarily act by increasing the propulsive activity and secondarily by allowing less time of absorption of water and salt. Coming to the classification, they are broadly categorized into four classes. They are bulk forming agents, stool softeners, stimulant purgatives, and osmotic purgatives. Examples of bulk forming agents are most of the dietary fibers such as bran, phycelium, asparagus, and even methyl cellulose. Coming to stool softeners, the examples are docusades and liquid paraffin. The next category is stimulant purgatives. The examples are diphenylmethanes, anthraquinolones, 5-HT4, serotonin 5-HT4 agonists, and prostaglandin analogs. The next category is osmotic purgatives. The examples are magnesium sulfate, magnesium hydroxide, sodium sulfate, sodium phosphate, and lactulose. Coming to bulk forming agents. So most of the dietary fibers they act as bulk forming agents. So these dietary fibers they consist of non-absorbable cell wall and other constituents such as cellulose, lignins, gums, pectins, glycoproteins, and other polysaccharides. The most commonly employed dietary fiber is bran. It has got almost 40% of the dietary fiber. Now the mechanism of action is how dietary fiber will act as a bulk forming agent. It usually absorbs the water in the intestine and swells itself. Thereby it increases the water content of the feces, softens them, and facilitates the colonic transit. And one more mechanism is osmotically active products may also be formed by the bacterial degradation of pectins and gums which act to retain the water. This dietary fiber it supports bacterial growth in the colon and contributes to fecal mass. And dietary fibers and bile salts together they promote the excretion of feces. These dietary fibers also enhance the degradation of cholesterol in the liver, and they also reduce the plasma LDL cholesterol levels. Coming to the uses, they are used in functional constipation and used when the straining of stools has to be avoided. The side effects are flatulence, abdominal distension, and these bulk forming laxatives should be avoided in patients with intestinal obstruction, gut ulcerations, adhesions, and stenosis. The other drugs or dietary fibers are Phycelium and Aspergilla. They are largely fermented in the colon. They increase the bacterial mass of colon and they soften the feces. Uses of Aspergilla, it relieves the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome and chronic diverticulosis. It is not to be swallowed dry because it might cause esophageal impaction. The next one is methylcellulose. It is a colloidal hydrophilic derivative of cellulose. It remains largely unfermented in the colon. Coming to the next category, stool softeners. They are anionic detergents. They act on intestinal mucosa and increase the net water accumulation in the lumen. This softens the stools. They also emulsify the colonic content, increasing the water penetration into the feces, and by the detergent action, they can disrupt the mucosal barrier and enhance absorption of many drugs. The examples are docusades. The side effects are abdominal cramps, nausea, and hepatotoxicity. The other drug is liquid paraffin. It retards water absorption and lubricates the hard stools and softens them. The side effects are unpleasant to swallow, and this liquid paraffin may trickle into the lungs and cause lipid pneumonia. And on chronic use of liquid paraffin, deficiency of fat soluble vitamins is seen, which because this liquid paraffin, it carries away the vitamin along with the stool. So deficiency of fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, K are seen. The next category is stimulant purgatives. They are powerful purgatives, often produce griping. And the overall side effects are fluid and electrolyte imbalance, hypokalemia, gravidatorus, and chronic intestinal obstruction may also occur. These stimulant purgatives, they act by various mechanisms. Their laxative activity is seen by various mechanisms which are summarized here. They can directly increase the gut motility by acting on myenteric plexus neurons. They can inhibit sodium potassium ATPase pump at basolateral membrane of the villus cells. This impairs the electrolyte and water absorption, that is the transportation of sodium and water into interstitium is reduced. They can enhance the prostaglandin synthesis in the mucosa, increasing the electrolyte and water secretion. Accumulation of water and electrolytes in the gut lumen by altering the absorption and secretory activity of mucosal cells. They can stimulate adenyl cyclase in crypt cells, increasing the electrolyte and water secretion. They can increase nitric oxide synthesis, increasing electrolyte and water secretion, and also inhibiting the non-propulsive contractions in the colon. Coming to the drugs, they are diphenyl methanes. Example is bisacodyl. It activates in the intestine by deacetylation. It irritates the colonic mucosa and increases fluid secretion. It also stimulates enteric neurons and promotes peristalsis. The side effects are allergic reactions, rectal inflammation whenever it is given as a suppository, and Stevens-Johnson syndrome is seen. The other drug is sodium picosulfate. It is a prodrug and it is hydrolyzed by colonic bacteria to active form. It acts locally to irritate the mucosa and activates myenteric neurons. And one more important point is this sodium picosulfate along with magnesium citrate. It is used to evacuate the colon for colonoscopy. The other drug is anthraquinolones. Example is senna. Senna contains anthraquinolone glycosides like amodins. These glycosides are not active as such. They remain unabsorbed in the small intestine, and in the colon bacteria liberates the anthrol form. They can act locally or absorbed into systemic circulation, and they stimulate the myenteric plexus to increase the peristalsis and decrease the segmentation. They also promote secretion and inhibition of salt and water absorption in the colon. Coming to the side effects, they are cramps, colonic atony, and melanosis. The next category is 5-HT4 agonist. The drug is procalchloride. It activates prejunctional 5-HT4 receptors on intrinsic enteric neurons. This enhances the release of acetylcholine, and this promotes the propulsive contraction in ileum and colon. Colonic transit and also the stool frequency is improved by using 5-HT4 agonist. The side effects are headache, dizziness, fatigue, abdominal pain and diarrhea. Next is prostaglandin analogs. Example is lubiprostone. It is used in the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome and idiopathic chronic constipation. It is a EP4 receptor agonist. It activates mucosal chloride ion channels, and this stimulates the guanyl cyclase. By stimulating the guanyl cyclase C, they activate the mucosal chloride ion channels, and this produces a chloride rich intestinal fluid, and this accelerates colonic transit. Coming to the side effects, they are very expensive. Nausea, dyspepsia and diarrhea are seen. Thank you. Next is osmotic purgatives. The solutes which are not absorbed in the intestine, they retain water osmotically, increase the fluidity of stool and distend the bowel, increasing the peristalsis. Osmotic purgatives, they act by retaining the water osmotically, thereby they increase the fluidity of stool, distend the bowel and increase the peristalsis. The magnesium ions release cholecystokinin, which increases the motility and secretion, and it might contribute to the purgative action. All inorganic salts that are used as osmotic purgatives, they have similar action, but they differ in their dose, palatability and systemic toxicity. The overall uses are: osmotic purgatives are used when the constipation has to be relieved immediately, and for bowel preparation before surgery, colonoscopy in case of food or drug poisoning. They are also used as after purge in the treatment of tapeworm infestation. Coming to the various examples of osmotic purgatives, they are magnesium sulfate. The dose is 5 to 15 grams. It is bitter and causes nausea. Magnesium hydroxide, the dose is 30 ml. It is bland in taste and it is used as a purgative and antacid also. Coming to the next drug, it is sodium sulfate. The dose is 10 to 15 grams. It is bad in taste. Next is sodium phosphate. The dose is 6 to 12 grams. It is also unpleasant in taste. The next one is lactulose. The dose is 8 to 15 grams. It is relatively pleasant in taste. So magnesium hydroxide is bland in taste and lactulose is relatively pleasant in taste. Except these two, all the other osmotic purgatives, they are unpleasant or bitter in taste. Coming to the drawbacks, they are contraindicated in certain pathological conditions. The examples are: magnesium salts are contraindicated in renal insufficiency, and sodium salts should not be given to patients with congestive heart failure, and repeated use of these osmotic purgatives may cause fluid and electrolyte imbalance. The saline purgatives are infrequently used because of their unpleasant taste and as they produce watery stools. Now coming to lactulose, it is neither digested nor absorbed in the small intestine. It retains the water. It is broken down by the colonic bacteria and it forms an osmotically active and weakly acidic product. This lactulose, it produces soft stools in 8 to 24 hours with a dose of 10 to 30 grams. The side effects are flatulence, flatus and nausea. It causes reduction of blood ammonia concentration by 25 to 50%, and this side effect may be helpful in the patients with hepatic encephalopathy. The next drug is lactylol. It is similar in action to that of the lactulose, but its palatability and patient acceptance is better. Coming to the side effects, it causes distension, flatulence, cramps, dyspepsia, nausea and vomiting.